Good evening, YouTube. This is Kaylin Stern coming at you with my regular Sunday night dinner. And tonight, I am starting off on this behemoth. I've got it sideways to the camera because it is so huge. I'm bringing up the chat on my tablet. Oh. Sorry, I forgot to turn the volume down. Sorry about that. Gotta clear the ads. A bit of a late start because I had just got home not all that long ago from hanging out with my family. They wanted to have an Easter dinner, but an Easter lunch, but to me it's just lunch. And had a good amount of food, and I brought some home, but I wanted to leave room for this behemoth that I got from Matt Hake. You know, this and that with Matt. And this is a Dutch 24-hour ration. The bag does not have a pack date or even a best buy date on the outside of it. But this is divided up into a few different bag modules, which is really nice for organizing your stuff, especially since this is meant to be a 24-hour ration. But if you're not doing some seriously heavy activity, you could actually stretch this into maybe a day and a half. So what I'm going to do, so the very nice Ziploc bag with a handle. And I'm going to go ahead and take out these bag modules first just to get them out of the way. So there are two snack modules, and then there's the brew kit or drink bag for some of the drinks, like the coffee, the tea, the cocoa mix. And then here is another snack bag. So these bags are very good quality bags. Even this one is about, pretty decent quality for a bag of this size. All but one of the items in here, the main pouches, is a dry. This is a rice pudding. This is a wet pack. So for a person out in the field who would eat this, they could put this in a pot of boiling water and to either thaw it out if it did get frozen, or just to heat it up if they wanted it hot rice pudding, or at least warm. Or you could eat this cold or at room temperature. Then we have a Bridgeford cinnamon bun. And bun is spelled with two N's on this. I'm not sure if the 7346 is a date code on this, but I will look at the other items in here for some kind of a code. And then later on, I will put, if I can figure out the year production on this, I will put that in the title. Okay, so this is according to the dates on this corn muesli. This was packed in 2022. So right there. And it's Best Buy of 26, May of 26. So that would be a breakfast item. And according to the suggestions on here, the rice pudding is also to be eaten for breakfast, but I am going to do 3 dinners because I got enough of these things in here. I can do that. So this is chicken masala with rice. And these are probably going to be all packed about the same time in 2022. This mashed potatoes with beef. And then the last of these freeze-dried or dehydrated, this is spicy chicken with rice. I got 4 Orifo drink mixes. Looks like 2 are the same. Actually, grapefruit. Yeah, 2 grapefruit flavor. Got 1 orange flavor. Let's see this other one. This one is, they just call it exotic. So I'm guessing it's kind of a tropical blend. So one of the grapefruits is going to go back in the bag immediately because I'm going to have one tonight. Of course, the other 3 will go back in the bag as well. And I'm going to go ahead and open up one of these. Nut Walker peanuts. These are not salted. I also get a really wide spoon. That's about as wide as the older style British spork. It is longer than my Foreign Emery spork. This is jelly beans. The bag, outer bag just says candy, so got jelly beans. This is a chocolate hazelnut spread, kind of like Nutella. biscuits fruit. Sometimes you see these in British rations. And it looks like they've done something different with this says multi-grain biscuit, but it looks like what they've done is they've individually wrapped them and strung them together, and one of them is broken, and I just dropped the bag. Got peanut butter in here. And two different flavors of chewing gum. There's 2 pieces in each. A full-size pocket tissues. This is Paloma, the same brand that has been used in British rations in the past. So these are kind of like the accessory packets. A pretty large size wet wipe. Apricot jam. This is okay, that's odd. There's supposed to be vitamin D3 tablet in here, but I am not. Oh, there it is. I was going to say there's no tablet in here, but it's a really, really small one. It's about the size of one of my prescription pills, so it almost gets lost in there. Oh, there's another wet wipe. It's apple cinnamon cereal bar. And 2 toothpicks. They are individually wrapped. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put back in here some of these items that I'm most likely not going to use tonight. Actually, I'll just go ahead and put all these things back in this bag just to clear my tray. That is accessory pack 1, or it could be snack pack 1. This one is in a slightly smaller bag. This one just may be all snacks. Got a small pack of cranberries. A caramel protein bar. Digestive biscuits, so there is a third set of biscuits. Nutwalker cashews, my favorite nut, and an Oriful branded chocolate bar. And this is a Whey 100 protein drink or protein shake. A vanilla flavor. One thing that you could probably do with this if you didn't want to drink it is put it into the muesli. So that would be one option for that. These digestive biscuits feel a bit beaten up. You could also put the cranberries into the muesli as well. And then the brew kit. I really like how they organize this. Of course, a soldier in the field, maybe after choosing his or her first meal, may choose to change it up a bit. Iced tea powder, so that is a 5th cold drink, or you can make it hot. Cocoa powder, salt, there is the 2nd cocoa powder, so there's 2 of those. This is a dehydrated instant soup. This is curry flavored. So that does give me some ideas. This is another instant soup. And this is vegetable broth. There's a 2nd instant tea. And that's not all. There's tea bags in here. Got breakfast tea, probably like English breakfast. 2 of those. Tea with lemon. Green tea. And then here is something that every American ration should have, pepper. And then the rest of these are, okay, there's a spicy sauce, so that would go with the condiments. So I'll put it in that one. Got instant coffee, so 1 for the mug. Coffee creamer for the mug. And 1 sugar for the mug. So there are 2 more coffees. So 2 more instant coffees. There's 4 more sugars. Actually, I dropped something on the floor. So there's 5 sugars. So this is missing 2 coffee creamers. That could have been an oops on Ration Packer's part. But that's okay. I got creamer I can throw in. Or another option would be I mix in one of these cocos. Let's see, got waffles here. Frenchie Sandy, also known as Mother Earth Garden Club. My crusher in the house. I decided to move the 2 soup mixes elsewhere because I may do something with one of those. Multi-magnum in the house, thanks for dropping in. Now to decide which one of these I'm going to do for tonight's dinner. So I'm going to show you the entrees again. Got chicken masala with rice. Got spicy chicken and rice. And instant mashed potatoes with beef. So one thing I could do with these soup mixes, I could put the vegetable in with the chicken with rice, and I could put the curry soup mix in with the chicken masala. So that is what I'm thinking with these soup mixes. Or I could put the vegetable soup mix in with the potatoes. That could be another option. Instead of mixing these up on their own. So I think what I'm going to do for tonight is I'm going to put the curry soup in with the masala. So I'm actually going to get that going first before I do anything else. As soon as I rip the top off of that bag, I really got that masala smell. Maybe you know what? I might actually change this up. I might not add anything to this. I may leave this one as is, and I might put this curry soup either in with the mashed potatoes or into the spicy chicken with rice. There are no oxygen absorbers in here. I'm going to do this before I do my coffee. Having these gusseted pouches makes it so much easy to mix. I went ahead and put the kettle back into the kitchen. The burner's still on. I'm going to go ahead and mix up this grapefruit drink. These do not have a zip top. This only calls for 250 mils, so basically a cup of water. Slight yellow tinge to that powder. Actually, I think my camera might be a tad crooked. I'm gonna that should take care of that. Very little color to this, which is nice. To Carlos Perry in the house, thanks for dropping in. Okay, so while all those things are kind of hanging out, I put my brew kit back in the bag. Now from these two bags here, I want to decide what else I'm going to have. I guess I was wrong about these are roasted but not salted. So they'll still be pretty good. So these are yes, these used to be known as the biscuits brown. So I think I'll go ahead and open these up. And since I'm on a peanut theme, I'll use a peanut butter. And I will have this bar for tonight. So now I'll go ahead and open up the coffee, the sugar, and the creamer. Pretty good size bits of the freeze-dried coffee. Now I'm going to put in the coffee creamer. Only one of those was included. There should have been two more. These stick packets are pretty tightly packed. So that is the sugar in there. Now I'll go bring back my hot water and I'll put that in there. And then after that I will check to see if I need to add any water to my main, but I probably may not. think I still need to make an adjustment to this. There we go, that should be better. I'm going to put my cinnamon bun on there just plus I wanted to give this a bit of a mix. Just a little bit more. There, I will let that chill out for a bit. Let's see if I can pull this out a little bit more. There we go. These are designed to be perforated. Which is very nice if you want to spread these throughout the day. Oh, that didn't quite work. Looks like these have been changed as far as their shape. So one of these biscuits per section. Actually, two of these look like they've been a bit dinged up. These could also go well with, if you made the soup by itself, you could probably put these in the soup. Unless you're just going to drink the soup. That is all of those. I just have a Walgreens bag off two up to the side. Yep, I am. I'm definitely going Dutch. I was hoping to get a hiss off of the peanuts. Those peanuts do smell good. This peanut butter definitely needs kneading. There's definitely some separation. I never had the apple cinnamon Orifo bar, so this sounds like a really good one. Oh, I think there may be even raisins in there. Yep. I just looked at the ingredients list. There are raisins in this bar. There's Tim Riley in the house. Got this behemoth out. I'm going to go ahead and put the rice pudding back in this bag. I haven't done that yet. I will have that as a dessert. I just clipped a corner off of the peanut butter packet. It's a bit runny. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to keep that off to the side, and I'll just put more on the other cracker pieces or biscuit pieces as time goes on. Now it's time to open this chicken masala with rice. I'm going to use my long spoon to get it out of here. I think that's all I'm going to get out of that. Like the Norwegian rations, these Orifo ones, you do get a huge amount of food once they've reconstituted. And for those in a cold climate or extremely heavy activity, you're going to want all these calories. There's chicken, there's red bell pepper, there's the masala spices, and of course the rice. The masala flavor is there. It's not too prominent, but it tastes fresh. There is a piece of the chicken. That rehydrated very well. Oh, wow, Tim, that is absolutely awesome. That that deserves a toast. Ooh, that's a good grapefruit drink. I like that. That one will be a good summer refresher. But having that good of a result, that is worth celebrating. Speaking of the weather, while I was hanging out at my oldest sister's house having lunch, my younger nephew's wife was looking up at the weather for the coming week, and I had not noticed this change in the forecast yet until I looked at it myself, because I had not looked at the forecast for a little while, probably not even since this morning, if even that. I just looked at the current conditions and called it good. But yeah, it's supposed to be cold enough Tuesday that we could get a mix of stuff coming down. And then Wednesday, back up to 70. That's crazy. Yeah, the weather has just been going absolutely crazy. And it looks like it's going to be doing that for the rest of this month. Yeah, DeCarlos, I miss those days when my family lived in a house that had a fireplace, and we did use it during the winter. And when we had power outages, that definitely kept us pretty warm. We didn't burn a huge amount of firewood that winter, but there were some pretty cold nights where we had to keep the fire going all night. Or at least in such a way where we'd at least have coals that could help get it started in the morning. At another time, we had a kerosene heater, and we would sit in the living room with that thing in the middle. But having the fireplace, it just made it more enjoyable. I miss those days. We got up to 59 here today in Des Moines. Tomorrow it's supposed to be in the 40s. I'm going to go ahead and take the cinnamon bun off the coffee and cover that. I kind of kept the heat in the mug. Yeah, that coffee's not too bad. But yeah, I definitely miss those days of having a fire in the winter. And with the burn bans we've had, very windy days, I don't risk doing it on my deck. I have a really cheap folding charcoal grill that I could burn wood in. Plus, I have my folding twig stove, but I think I might look for something that's a little bit beefier, as in made a little bit stronger and something that I could more easily contain it, maybe more easily disguise what I'm doing. Spicy tuna rolls in the house. Prepper for the Ages is here. I don't see Dave. I don't know if... I suppose I could look at the participants to see who's in here. I haven't seen him put anything into the chat, but he might be watching. I'm going to try some of this with this very runny peanut butter on it. That tastes different than the previous version of the biscuits brown. It's got more of an oat, more prominent oat flavor. The oat texture is really there. I mean, it works with the peanut butter. The peanut butter is definitely, even though it's very loose, it's a bit dry in the mouth, but I think it still works with these. I probably could have taken a bite of this on its own. These are not as dense as a previous version used to be. I think the fruit biscuits and the digestive biscuits are a bit denser. These would probably be good with the apricot jam on them, although I think I would save the fruit biscuits for that. And my sister next to me in age had her gallbladder removed, but she had a different problem with hers than I did with mine. I had gallstones, and my gallbladder was infected, so the surgeon did not piece it out. That was way back in 2007 when I had mine yanked. My sister just had an inflamed gallbladder, and she had robotic laparoscopic surgery where the surgeon controlled a robot that did a lot of the work of getting those pieces out of her. But she only spent the one day in the hospital, whereas I spent a whole week after mine because I had to fight the infection. But she is still having some issues with eating her regular diet. So she can only eat a little bit at a time, much like a hypoglycemic person would. They would eat small meals more frequently throughout the day, where she's only eating a little bit. And then a little while later, she'll eat some more. So but we're all hoping that will pass. But as far as the pain goes, she doesn't have much pain from the surgery. Whereas after mine, I did not have the nausea. I was given some pills for that. I got the prescription filled, but I just never used them. But this is the same sister who had to have two ankle surgeries because the first time some things did not heal right, and so a surgeon had to go fix that, correct a couple of things. And so she just decided to go ahead and go on a full permanent disability. She'd probably like to go back to work. She is only 61. But in a few years, the permanent disability will turn into just straight up Social Security, as if she had retired from a job. And my brother didn't come today because he caught some nasty bug from someone and he just didn't want to spread it. So one of my other sisters packed up some food to take home for him to eat later. I thought maybe he was working, but no, he's just feeling too sick. So there's some crap going on around here. Right now it's allergies that are bothering me and my mom. She's gonna try to get the allergy shots going again. It's that time of year for that stuff. That tastes just like a natural grapefruit drink. And it looks like grapefruit juice. Looks like yellow grapefruit juice. And I like that. I guess I kind of got a yellow theme going on here. Or at least yellow and brown, but next week I think there may be a little bit more color going on. But this masala, I wouldn't have minded a bit more of the garam masala flavor, but I'm still liking it. So I got this from Matt of This and That with Matt. I thought I got a good deal on it. Turns out I got an even better deal because he threw in the RCIR that I have. That will come up later this year when I get into that one. He sent that one along with this beast of a ration because stuff got in the way of him getting it out to me sooner. But I said, yeah, I'm not worried about it. You got a life, so. But I got both, so I'm happy about that. I posted it in one of the ration groups, and then a person commented saying that this is a good one, and I do agree so far. Again, this is just the first meal. I'm actually going to save this cinnamon bun for another week. I just put it on top of my coffee to keep the heat in. Gonna have a munch on some of these peanuts. Nice crunch, nice roast on them. So even though they're not salted, they're very good quality peanuts. You can't go wrong with the Nut Walker. And I will definitely be enjoying those cashews when I get into them. I had such a huge lunch that I probably could have left off something else, but I am still going to finish all of this. I'm glad I decided not to put that curry soup in here. I think I'm going to. I will definitely add that to. I could put it with the chicken and rice, or the potatoes with beef, and then put the other soup in with the other main. So I was just looking at this package of the cinnamon bun. This has a best buy of 2025. So this is probably 2022. And the 7346 is another code, not a date code. You can't go wrong with these cinnamon buns, especially when you heat them. That's when they're really good. Thanks for dropping in, John. Hope to see you another time. As usual, the unused items that I don't open up, like, I'll save the two gums, the salt and pepper I will save, one of the grapefruit drink mixes I will save for another day. That super wide spoon that's even wider than the Chinese spoons I've had. It's as wide as that older style British spork. That one will go into my bag of plastic spoons, which become part of my stash of disposable utensils that I would use in case I had to restrict my water use to the bare basics and not use a lot of it for washing dishes. I just ate a nice sized piece of minimally processed chicken. It's almost like a pulled chicken, not overly processed, which is nice. You can pick up the fibers of the meat. It took on the flavor pretty darn well. I would definitely be happy to eat this on a super cold day if I was out in the snow somewhere, hunkering down underneath a spruce tree with a fire in front of me to boil up some water to rehydrate this. At one time I had another Orifo chicken and rice. I think it was a spicy one, but I had taken it to camp. When I was camping with some friends and we provided our own food. And that one was pretty good. I think I added a little seasoning to it. But it's been so long since I had that particular Orifo entree. I don't remember if it was spicy chicken and rice or just chicken and rice with vegetables or something like that. But next week I'm going to do the instant potatoes with beef, and I will throw in one of the soup mixes. Just to kind of amp up the flavor of that. I'm going to take a bite of this bar that I knocked the peanut off of. Really, really good apple flavor in there. The cinnamon is definitely there. The flavor of the raisins is kind of in the background, but they definitely do give it a bit of a chewy texture to it. But it has so much better flavor than the apple cinnamon First Strike bar. I would take this over that any day. That is my least favorite of the First Strike bar flavors. I don't have a this and that with Matt mug. I don't know if he has any merch. So I decided, since I'm doing a foreign ration, I will go with the foreign MRE mug. Again, I cannot thank Art and Nina enough for finding one of them that was still in its original packaging to send to me after, since my original one broke. So after the stream is over, I am going to go ahead and put the year in the title that this one was packed, and I will add to the description tonight's entree so that those who may watch it later will have a better idea of what's coming up. It took a long time to pull everything out, show the full contents, but that's okay, because I just want to show everything that was in that bag. And the fact that the handle remains after you open the bag, that's a definite plus, because that makes it easy to carry it from place to place. And the other snack bags, it helps you organize the smaller stuff. And if you need to use them to pack out, to put some trash in, definitely good for that. But I will definitely be keeping all of those bags after this is done. That's why I have a Walgreens bag to put tonight's trash in. gonna have another bunch of these peanuts. Now, those peanuts are probably packed in 22 as well. But they have definitely held up. They do not taste bad at all. It would be nice if these biscuits had a little bit more crunch to them. And these are not as dense as the original Biscuits Brown. So there may have been a substitution with this other version. And the other two packs are the Biscuits Fruit and the digestive ones. The chocolate hazelnut spread will go on the digestive biscuits. And I want to put the apricot jam on the fruit ones. The peanut butter does taste like it was made from roasted peanuts as opposed to raw. And it's not a sweet peanut butter, which is nice. Some peanut butters are just a little too sweet. Thanks for dropping in. Frenchy Sandy heading out. Hope to see you another time. Matt will probably catch part of the replay when he has free time because he's excited for me to open this one up. I messaged him earlier today. Actually, after I got home from my sister's house, telling him that I was going to be busting into this thing tonight. So he's excited to see what I think of it. And so far, his first meal's a winner. Now for the rice pudding, I think what I might do with that one is actually chill it. Because I like rice pudding served cold as well as warm. But I think my favorite way to eat that is actually cold. I have had freshly made rice puddings at the mosque during Ramadan that were still warm. But then after they've been chilled, they're still just as good. And Costco used to sell the little rice pudding cups that were probably like a couple ounces. You could get a box of them, and someone had bought me some of those, or bought a big box of them and then shared them with me because she has a Costco membership. I don't have a Costco membership. It's just too far for me to go from the closest bus stop. And with our bus routes changing in June, the distance might even be farther. So I don't get anything from there unless someone who has a Costco membership buys it and gives it to me. Out of their choice to do that. Not that I would ask for someone to do something like that. It's their choice if they want to do that. I have a membership to Sam's Club because it's easy for me to get to. I don't shop there a lot, but those 4 black catering bowls with the clear lids, took them to the mosque. Well, they didn't last as long as I thought because someone used one to pack food to take home after everybody was done eating and before the food that was set aside, our leftovers set aside to be taken to the homeless shelter. And then one I think was used to put food in to be taken to the homeless shelter. So then we ended up 2 left out of those 4. And then those ended up getting used, but at least we got a few uses out of them. They ended up being bigger than I thought they were, but I'm still happy I got them. And of course I got a new pair of Merrells that they had on sale. I haven't worn them yet. I did spray a shoe treatment on them. So I'm just going to wear the current pair that I got at a thrift store several years ago. I think this will be the last. When it warms up and I don't need a heavyweight shoe, and I can wear some of my other shoes, then that's when I'll ditch those. And then the Merrells that I got from Sam's Club, then next fall I'll start wearing those. I wore them once just to kind of get a feel for how they feel, but they're going to need a few more wears before they get comfortable. But ever since I found that first pair of Merrells at a thrift store, I got hooked. And then when I found the pair that I am currently wearing at a thrift store, I paid no more than $5 for those shoes. And when I was looking at the price of a new pair, over $100, no, I don't want to pay that much for a pair of shoes, even though I really love those shoes. But when Sam's Club had them for like $50 on sale, I went for it. And I think I got the last, I think they were shipped from the local club store here instead of from a warehouse elsewhere. I think I got the last pair in my chosen size that was available. Yesterday, I went to a little party that was supposed to be way back in December, but because life got in the way of some people attending, and of course, weather got pretty crappy too, and they didn't want to have it during Ramadan because I wouldn't be there and I wouldn't have been able to hop in on Zoom because I was just too dang busy. Because I was going to the mosque in the middle of the day, and then staying there till you know, depending on if it was before the stupid time change or after. I wasn't leaving there till like well after 8 o'clock or well after 9 o'clock. Maybe almost 10 by the time Ramadan ended. But yeah, we had this party yesterday, so I tried my experiment of putting that chocolate hazelnut spread that I picked up at Hillel Groceries. I had put that on those ladyfinger cookies. I had done some of them. I'd done 24 of them. But when I found out that we weren't going to have that party when we originally supposed to, I put them in the freezer. And then this past Wednesday, I took those out of the freezer. And then Thursday, I did the other 24, pretty much finishing off that jar. And I kept them in the fridge. The ones that I had in the freezer, I had moved to the fridge. But by the time I got to the location where we had this little party, not very many showed up, so I still have probably 2/3 of those cookies. But when you pull them off the parchment paper, or pull the parchment paper off, that spread was coming up, so not very much was left on the cookies, but that didn't bother some people. But at least it was an experiment I wanted to try. It's a slightly different consistency than actual Nutella, and it's more of a milk chocolate rather than a dark chocolate. That flavor's not bad. But I think next time I want to frost some ladyfingers, I'm going to do something different. And I may have to pack them different. I thought with the parchment paper that, and with that stuff being chilled, it would be easier to peel the paper back and not take that spread with it. But oh well. And I had new flavor Girl Scout cookies. I can't remember the flavor now, it's a new one, but if anyone could not have hazelnut, then I had those because they have no nuts, there's no nuts, no dairy. So I figured those would be an alternative. But there's a gift exchange, or sort of more like drawing names. And I took a couple of Olites, small Olites, that were still in their boxes because I like to give them as gifts. So I took a couple of those. They got snatched up. And then others had other gifts, so names are drawn. And because so few had showed up, one did come in on Zoom because we set up a Zoom link for that. But she didn't stick around long because she had stuff to do, but she did want to drop in on Zoom and say hi to the rest of us. But I came home with a couple of goodies that I will show in my haul video. I'm going to do a combined March and April, so it will definitely be in several segments when I do shoot those. But I'm waiting on some Amazon stuff to come in. Actually, one more Amazon item, and I'm waiting on an eBay item. So I got two of those in. I'm waiting on another one. I was given some food, so I will show that. I have picked up a few other things. But I got a few more things to pick up. So I get my shopping done for the month. As early as possible. That way I don't have to deal with it anymore. I was also given some gifts during Ramadan. So I will show those as well. I wore one of those to the Eid prayer on March 20th. So I will show that. So I will talk about some items that I picked up that I won't show, especially some of my frozen items, because I took a couple of things out of my freezer that I already had that I want to go ahead and cook up. But trying to get these other things in, I spent quite a bit of time reorganizing my freezer so I can get these things in. So I will just mention them. So that's how I'll do that. So my freezer is absolutely stuffed. And so far, haven't had any long power outages where I would be concerned about it, but I do have my Opus. So if I had to, I could plug my fridge into that and then just let that. I don't know how long it would run, my fridge. I don't know how many watts it uses. I have never tested that out. It's the older model Opus 600. It's got a 540 some watt hour capacity LiFePO 4 battery. It is not one of the newer models that I could plug it into the wall and then plug my fridge into that and use that, what's called an interrupted power supply or emergency power supply, where if I lose power, you know, when I have grid power, it draws, my fridge would draw directly from the grid through the power station, as opposed to just running off of that battery. But if the power goes out in one of these power stations that is capable of uninterrupted power supply, then it would switch over within a matter of milliseconds. And I have watched videos where guys or people would test that. With a computer, there would be no flicker on the computer screen, no light flickering, nothing shutting off, because that transition to the power station's internal battery is that fast. So my Opus cannot do that. My smaller power stations are older model, plus they're too small anyway. My little Satechi only has a 300 watt running output, so it would not last very long. But eventually I would like to get a larger capacity one with the uninterrupted power supply. I could put that on top of my fridge. Take down stuff that I currently have up there, and then plug my fridge in, plug that thing into the wall, and then plug my fridge into that power station, and then just let that thing go. That was another peanut that stuck to this. So I just grabbed it and ate it. If I can, if I get some additional gift money, I don't file tax returns because I have no tax withheld. I have no investments that are taxable. My SSDI is not taxable. So I was asked by one of my sisters why I don't file tax return. I said, I don't have anything withheld. There's nothing to get back. And apparently she was a bit confused about, well, there's this, the personal exemption, but that's just a deduction. That I would not get that money, that amount from the IRS because I don't pay anything into it. I haven't filed a tax return since 2010 for my 2009 taxes. I did do some private duty work in 2011 and 2012, but that was only for a few months as a transition until the client got into a state-funded program where the caregiver would not have to pay anyone for the service. But I did not earn enough to file, to have any taxes withheld out of it. But I told the caregiver that since you're paying me for the service, you can deduct that expense off of your taxes. So I wrote out receipts for him. And so he did just that. He got to take that amount that he paid me as an expense, for providing care for a dependent adult. If he would not have had me or someone authorized by the state program, he would have had to quit his job and go on welfare just in order to pay his personal expenses. Because the client's own benefits really did not cover a lot of his needs. In some states, I don't know how it is in other countries, but there may be programs, a caregiver of a dependent adult or maybe a severely disabled child who needs a lot of physical care but does not need to be in a medical facility full time, like a nursing home or a group home, sometimes that relative who is responsible for that person could get a small stipend from that program. But I think you have to meet some pretty strict requirements to get into that. This private duty client that I had did not qualify for that. I didn't know about it at the time, otherwise I could have told the caregiver about it. But it still wouldn't have been worth it financially because yeah, he was still paying the mortgage on the house, plus the bills. Plus providing, the entertainment, food, and other expenses. But I have seen some Facebook posts about it where people are trying to get into such an arrangement. But of course, those are subject to the whim of the states. I barely made a dent in what? I'm looking at the chat. Oh, I'm definitely making a dent in this. I don't have too much of my entree left. If you're saying I barely made a dent in this ration, now that would be true. This old 1983 Tupperware tray will be even more yellow after tonight. I'm not sure how I could get rid of that staining short of bleaching this thing. But considering its age, it has held up pretty well. There and a couple of nicks in there where I may have used a knife to cut whatever food I had on it, because I have taken this to a couple of events where I needed to bring my own tableware. And I did get some looks with this tray, and I was asked about it. I told them how I got a hold of it. You can find these trays on eBay. You can sometimes find them in thrift stores. when I won that MRE from Sticky Finger 749 back in 2017. This was the only tray I had, and so I thought, you know what? I'm going to do what these others are doing. I'll open this up on camera and I'll eat it and give my thoughts on it, and I'll put it on this tray. So that's what I did until I got the green one. Yeah, I used this for the Chinese ration because it had those two huge mains, and I want them to go side by side. And I didn't have much else to put with it aside those chocolate and vitamin ration bars. I didn't need to open those again when I had already opened one pack of those once. So that's why I substituted that chocolate chip cereal bar as a loose item in a box of stuff I got from another member of the community. Thanks for dropping in, Tim. Yeah, they definitely can. I have one of the two round trays that I have seen. I think it was either Smitty used or Tracy Phillips. One of those two guys has a round metal tray. I found two of those in a thrift store. I bought both of them. I gave one to a local guy here. Someone had given him some MREs. We were camping together, so I gave him that tray. And I teased him about using that tray to open up one of those MREs and eat it on camera. He never did that, but I'm sure he still has the trays. He probably ate those MREs, just not on camera. But I still have the other one. I have not used it yet because I actually intend for that one to be a giveaway item. Yeah, unfortunately, we do not have a local store here. I never did make it to the one that used to be here before it closed up. I wish I would have, but I still have my eye on some 1966 U.S. mess kits on eBay. I got several of those in my watch list. I picked 1966 because that was the year I was born. A couple of those sets have the utensil set. or at least a utensil set. I don't know if they were also 1966 or if the seller just wants to include them with the mess kit itself. I have a Polish utensil set. It looks very similar to the East German style. Or it could be West German, I'm not sure. But the little handle thing that you put the utensils in is a can opener. Or at least it has a can opener on it, so if you had a canned food item in your ration, you had a can opener to open it with. Yeah, if I want to hit up an army surplus store, then I would go to a website. Although it's been a while, I have bought a few items from a foreign site called Verustaleka, but that was several years ago. If I tried to do that now, I would probably have to pay a hefty tariff on whatever it is I would buy. So I've been looking at some US sites as well as eBay listings. But I want a few more Polish surplus items. But for some of those things that I want some pretty hefty prices and shipping, and I have absolutely no idea what the tariff would be. I will still look for foreign rations that are already in the U.S. so I wouldn't have to deal with thieves. So finding this one that I got from Matt that he wanted to sell, and I was looking to buy some more rations, I decided I'm going to pounce on this one. Yeah, that's the one, the Army surplus store that I really wanted to go to. I just never did. And it would not have been too far of a walk from the bus stop. Because a bus crosses Army Post at Southwest 9th. And I would have just walked west from there. but I never made it in there. And Sticky Finger 745 was collecting mess kits from around the world, and I told him I had a Polish Scout mess kit he was interested in, so I sent that to him, and I got a trade. That first heater meals that I got, the one that had the busted, it had a busted item in it that messed up some of the other things, so I had to substitute a couple of things in that box to complete the meal, and I had to do a lot of cleanup. But I got that, and I think an MRE or something as a trade for that Polish Scout mess kit. I had two of those, and I wanted to offer that up to him in a trade because in some of his videos he was saying that he was collecting mess kits from different countries. I have a couple of different Polish civilian or scout mess kits. Plus I have the green one that kind of resembles the East German one. Slightly different shape from the Russian one that was used in about that time. So that one I have actually used. It was on my own stovetop, but I used it. And it is way back in my video library. Hey, thanks for dropping in, All Things Country. Good to see you here. I do these live reviews every Sunday at 7 p.m. Central, 8 Eastern. This is meal one of this. Just bring this big old bag back over here. This Dutch 24-hour ration. The cold weather module, menu 1. It says code 22. I'm not sure what that code means, but the items in here were packed in 2022. But if I were to eat everything this ration, I could extend it into a day and a half. I would just not have larger meals out of it like I'm doing now. But I will definitely get 3 meals out of this and not even touch the muesli, which is a breakfast item. But then again, I may choose to open that one up. I got 2 cocoa mixes. I got 3 tea bags. I got 2 instant tea drinks. I got 3 more of these isotonic drinks, one of them being another grapefruit. So I have another grapefruit, I got an orange, and I got the exotic. I got 2 more spreads. I got 2 more packs of the biscuits. I got a protein bar, I got a chocolate bar, I got cinnamon bun, I got a wet pack rice pudding. I got 2 more coffees, 5 sugars. They didn't send, there are not 2 additional creamers. There was only 1 creamer in there, so next time I drink one of those coffees, I'll add my own creamer, or I can mix one of the cocoa mixes with it and make a mocha. I got chocolate hazelnut spread, kind of like Nutella. I got apricot jam. I got 2 little packs of gum. So that's 4 pieces of gum. A little packet of jelly beans. I got a cinnamon bun, which is made here in the U.S. by Bridgeford. I got 2 instant soups. Yeah, that's a lot of stuff. I almost put the curry soup mix into this chicken masala with rice, but after I got the smell of that, I decided, nope, I'm just going to leave this one as is. I got salt and pepper. The plastic spoon that was in here is going into my stash of plastic spoons. I use this titanium spork in all my reviews. When I have a freeze-dried entree that's in a tall bag, I use this long-handled spoon to mix it. And I have a pocket tissue pack. Those will get stashed away. There are a couple of toothpicks in there. There's a vitamin D tablet, which I will also stash away. So yeah, that's a lot of stuff in that bag. I have a bag of cashews. There's a packet of spicy sauce. Yeah, that's a lot of stuff in there. No, you're not a ghost. I see you. And thanks for dropping in. I welcome new viewers and new subscribers. You would only be an actual ghost if you are blocked. And you don't get blocked for saying a greeting. At least my mods won't do that. I won't do that. But I did have someone blocked by YouTube just for saying hi. But that was not done by any of the mods. And some streamers have even had their own mods get kicked out. Not for saying anything bad, just for being there. Yeah, there have been a few glitches like that. There have been times where someone will get put in timeout by accident because chat jumps, or someone will get booted out of a stream and blocked because chat jumps. And I let a new mod intentionally put me in timeout because nobody in that particular stream was sure how that worked. So I said, go ahead, put me on timeout. And then once the timeout ends, I will tell you what I was able to do and what I was not able to do. So the timeout lasted 5 minutes. Once that 5 minutes was up, I said I could read the chat, I could watch the stream. I just could not put anything into the chat myself until the timeout ended. So that was a learning experience for someone who had just become a mod. Now the real trolls we go after, there have been some real doozies trying to stir things up. But that's why a lot of us have so many mods that if some are not available for that particular stream, others are there. Or if a mod has a connection issue, and that is usually my case because my connection here is not exactly the greatest. And now with our security cameras here in the building running off of our Wi-Fi's, I'm probably burning a bit more bandwidth, but so far I haven't had any significant issues where I would have to call the cable company and say, I think I need to do something about this. I don't know what I can do. But that's how the management company here set that up. Instead of having a dedicated Wi-Fi strictly for the new security cameras. Maybe it's an experiment. I don't know. But I'm glad to see some new faces. I've been doing this. I started out slow, maybe once a month. After I won that first MRE back in 2017. And then as I got more into it and I got monetized, then I was able to pick up some more rations using some of that money that I get from the ad revenue. Sometimes I use that money on other things to help out with the channel itself, like when my last tripod that I had a few years ago, it broke. I paid for a higher quality one that's a lot sturdier, and I used that when I did my streaming setup video. I even found a link to a similar tripod that the company Zome makes. My model is not available anymore, but I found the closest looking one. So I put a link to that one. If anyone is interested in getting a higher quality tripod. And of course the phone mount that I'm using, that I showed in that video, I used some of my ad revenue to buy that. The last one I had for a long time had finally broke several months ago, or sometime I think early last year. It finally gave out, so I got this one. I can't remember the brand name of it, but is definitely a lot better. It's more stable. and I just like it. When you go into a chat for either live stream or a premiere, got to make sure you select all messages. There are three different options. There is top chat, which selectively which shows some of the comments that people are dropping, not all of them. There's the live where you see every single comment, every single emoji, every single super chat or super sticker. And then there's a third one that only will show the super chats and super stickers. I don't know if that's only for the stream host, if that would be something that only I can see, or if it's something that all the viewers can see. But those are the three options. So make sure you're in live chat. That way you see everything. And the super chat, when you go down to where you can put your comment in, you may see what looks like a dollar sign. What that would allow a viewer to do is drop a minimum of, I think, 99 cents or a dollar. And there are a few different increments you can go up to. And with the super chat, that is a donation to the channel. Of course, YouTube takes their cut. But I get a portion of each one of those on top of my ad revenue. So that's what that dollar sign down there by the comment input line. Because I'm monetized, I am eligible to receive those. On some videos, you'll see what's another one called Super Thanks. You can do the same thing on a regular comment on a video that is not a live stream. So I have that enabled. But I'm not one of those who encourages people to do that. It's just an option that if people want. Just like the channel memberships, I have channel memberships active. I don't push it. It is just an option that I put if people want to do that. I do have some channels that I am a member of. But I only do that for very few. I'm just squeezing out the rest of this as much of the rest of this peanut butter out of this packet as I can onto these bigger cracker biscuit bits that I have. Oh, that didn't quite work, but oh well. I'm going to call that good for that peanut butter. But I hope that little explanation helps. I also have a Patreon. I have not received anything off of that, but again, I don't actively promote it. The link in my channel description is just there. PayPal is there as well. It's for anyone who chooses to donate to my channel. It's totally of their own choice. If people can't do it, I'm fine with that. Just watching the videos and the streams, hitting the like button or the dislike, whatever you want. Yeah, leaving comments if you want. That definitely helps out the channel creators. Yep. And you just may have heard Pumpkin. That's Pumpkin down here. She's the torty girl. She's almost 9. I got her when she was 2. When my previous cat, Mila, was 16. I took Pumpkin in because the guy who brought her to me had to give up one of his cats because where he had to move his family at the time could not have more than one cat, and he did not want to trust a shelter with her, so he contacted me, asked me if I would take her in. I said, yeah, I'll take her in. Of course, Mila didn't like that another cat was coming into her turf, but of course then I lost Mila when she was 18 and a half. It took Pumpkin some time to adjust to being the only cat, but she's doing good. She is a screen climber, though. I do have to make sure I don't open my windows wide enough, otherwise she will climb the screens. Yeah, I'm talking about you, Pumpkin. Sometimes she'll make an appearance during my stream, sometimes not. Isn't that right, Pumpkin? You show up when you want? Is that how it goes? Huh? Is that how it goes? She definitely has a different personality than Mila did. But I wouldn't have it any other way. I even changed the little sign that I got hanging on my door. It used to say, "A spoiled, rotten tuxedo cat lives here." So I did the old style edit correction mark. I crossed out the word torty, and I put an arrow, and I wrote, and I crossed out the word tuxedo. I put an arrow and then wrote the word torty on that sign. So now it's a spoiled, rotten torty cat lives here. I've got dog owners who live in this building. And when I go out or I'm coming in, and if the dogs are there, they want to sniff. And I tell their humans that dogs are probably smell my cat scent. No, that's not for Kitty's pumpkin. That's not a kitty ration. This is not a kitty ration. I got your preps elsewhere, pumpkin. Yeah, I got your preps elsewhere. Yeah, one meal down, and I still got all this stuff in the bag. So I will sort through all that later. I will remove those items that I do not intend to use and leave the rest there. But once all those Ziploc bags are emptied, I do not toss them. I keep them because they're good, sturdy bags. And I like having a variety of sizes, especially the big ones. No, I have not looked at Etsy for rations. That is something I had never considered. I've always thought Etsy was for people who make their own products to sell. Like I bought some items off of Shalisa Shell's Fatwood Queen Etsy store. She hunts fatwood. And then she also makes resin coasters like this. This one happens to be a fatwood disc inside of this resin. So she makes these herself. And I'll put this light through it so you can see. Actually, I'll switch it to. No, no, this is a different. But yeah, those red streaks through there. Fire truck going by. That's what that noise is. Yeah, that's called fat wood. And that is highly resinous, highly flammable. And if you shave little bits off of a piece and then you hit it with a match or a lighter or a ferro rod, you can get some sparks to help get a fire going. So I got one of those discs, those coasters, as a freebie, along with some of the items that I actually bought from her. But she's up in Michigan. She hunts the fat wood herself, goes out into different forests and looks for downed or dead standing pine trees that she can collect pieces from that have that flammable resin in there. So that's the only purchase I have made off of Etsy so far. But looking for rations, that might be something I'll have to check into later. But last year I bought a case of MREs, 2022 pack. It was a case A. Amazon had those on sale. And then I had a 24 pack case B sent in by Waffles. That was a total surprise. So I have a few of each of those left. And when I got that replacement for an MRE mug, Art and Nina sent my favorite brown bag MRE, which is the corned beef hash. I think it might be a 91. I'm not sure. But I got a DAF ration from Chile. And I have a halal certified US MRE, which happens to be the same menu that I reviewed on the 22nd of March, which happened to be 2 days after the Eid holiday, which comes after Ramadan ends. Because I just reviewed that menu. That one is just either for my personal enjoyment, or if I choose to take it on a trip where I need to bring my own food, or it may be a giveaway item. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it. But I have found some foreign rations on eBay. I only look for those that are already in the US, so I don't have to deal with tariffs or customs thieves. The Chinese rations that I reviewed, one last week and then one before Ramadan, back in February, I found both of those on eBay. Got them both from the same seller, who put them both together in the same box, which is, the same package, which is nice. They were halal certified. I would like to find some more halal certified foreign rations. My French ration, it has the without pork marking on it. It does not have the halal certified marking on it. I did do one of those several years ago. But I hope to find some other halal certified rations from different countries, but trying to find some that are already here in the US, easier said than done. I think when I get my money for May, I will be be on the hunt for rations. I am not going to order any this month. As I said, I'm pretty stocked up on rations for now. I'm going to move that. Pumpkin almost jumped on it. I use MRE case boxes to store my rations in, and then I use other boxes to store my loose components. Now you can't have this pumpkin. She thinks she can claim everything as hers. But I guess that's a cat for you. I recently reviewed the MCW seafood chowder menu. That one got ousted from the lineup a couple of years ago, I think. That's my favorite MCW menu that is no longer in the menu lineup. I want to try some of the newer menus, so I will be on the hunt for those. They feature some newer Mountain House entrees. I don't think you can go wrong with Mountain House. Although, for some things, some of these foreign rations, top even Mountain House. Some Norwegian Arctic field rations have some entrees that'll just blow your mind. It was a lot easier to get those in than it is now with some of the changes that the government has made over the years. But there are some entrees in there that, if I can get a hold of them again, I would definitely do that. I have had all of the menus of the DAF rations from Chile. At least the black and white bags, the red and white bags, those are, I think, first responder or police rations. There are tan bags, which are the actual military ones. I have not gotten a hold of any of those. But the DAF company does those as well. And I really like the DAF sports that they put into those rations. I have kept all of those. In fact, I think one is in my bug out bag. So, since I have my favorite of the DAF rations that I've had, I get my favorite ration coffee, which is the Chilean instant coffee. The big cracker, which is basically a cookie. I like to combine that with what they call their berries jam, which is more of a sauce than a thick jam, like we know a jam to be. I bust up those cookies and I pour that berries jam on it, and you got yourself a ration cobbler. Just like I would do with an American oatmeal cookie and the blueberry cobbler that you find in some USMRE menus. I bust up the cookie, I heat up that cobbler, and I pour that over the cookie pieces. That is so good. My loose components, I have entrees, I got some sides, I got some breads and crackers. I've done what I like to call ration mashups, where I combine different components from different rations to make a meal out of them. Basically creating a custom ration. I've also put together custom rations that I sent to a couple of other YouTubers, and they opened them up on their channels and did videos on them. I think there's another guy I might do that for. But as I said earlier, I mentioned I have items for a giveaway. When I pass 1,500 subscribers, I am going to do a giveaway. I have some items already here that I've been sitting on for a while that will go into the prize box. And I am slowly acquiring other items. In my previous giveaways, I did boxes full of survival items, more focused on that than rations. I included fire starters. I included like little, got a little knife, water purification tablets, some first aid items, maybe a container, a waterproof container to put things in, maybe a fire kit that I'd put together in a tin or something like that. This time it will be more of the ration type items, but a few other goodies that I've been sitting on that I will include. We have 2 birch trees on the property here, and I have collected birch bark, and I have sent that out to the winners. So they got some Iowa birch bark. And some fatwood from trees here in Iowa that I had collected myself or someone had collected and given to me. I'd pass some of those on. I have dipped dryer lint wads in wax and made fire starters out of that. I dipped some jute twine in wax. I dipped some sisal. My cat, the first meal and then Pumpkin, have clawed off the sisal rope that surrounds the posts on my cat platform. And if there's enough of that that is just hanging off, I just cut it off I have dipped that in wax, and because sisal is a natural material that's been made into a rope, that will burn. So dipping that in wax, I turn that into a fire starter. And of course, I did the usual, the cotton pads and cotton balls, and I filled pill bottles full of cotton balls with Vaseline, and in one I stuffed some dryer lint in there, did the same thing. And in some of my foreign rations that I've gotten matches, either the stormproof matches, similar to the UCO stormproof matches. I have some that I got from Russian rations. I have some that I got from British rations, and then I have the wood matches from French rations, Lithuanian rations, among others. I think Polish rations, and I have some of the German wood matches that look like your standard paper book matches, but they're made out of wood. So I have some of those. And I have the Australian little match case that is full of matches with some cotton in it. And of course I have the fuel tabs from different foreign rations, plus some that I have bought, like Coughlin's. I have vintage Espet fuel tabs which still work. From the 70s or 80s, that particular pack was made. I burned one, and it worked. And because I collect and use Olites, I'll just show you an example. This is a clip Olite. I have a variety of models, styles, like this one here. I keep the little film in the battery sleeve to prevent contact. If I'm not going to use a lighter, I just take the battery out completely. But I have given lights like this as gifts. In fact, yesterday at a party that I went to, I gave away a couple of smaller Olites, one about the size of the last one that I showed, plus an even smaller one. So those got snatched up. And I have a whole bunch more that I am saving for the White Eagle Multicultural Powwow, if we do a giveaway as part of the closing ceremony. We did not do that last year, but I took a whole bunch of the smaller Olites, a bunch of different colors. But if we do that again, last year the weather was crap and we had problems with wind. So we just decided to just pack it up and get out of there. So that's what we did. But the rest of the committee knows I have them. So I like to put those out for that final recognition giveaway. And the year before when I did that, they got snatched up pretty fast. Yeah, I am not indigenous, but I kind of fell into that. It was at the fairgrounds. I heard about it, so well, I can take a bus over there, go check it out. So I was just kind of roaming around, and the woman who was working the kids craft area saw me hanging around and asked me if I wouldn't mind staying there while she went and got some dinners. Yeah, sure, I'll hang. And when she came back, I just stayed. Yeah, I'm going to come back tomorrow and help you out. You could probably use it. So I've been doing the kids' crafts every year since, except for 2020 when we didn't have it. Because the big nasty got in the way of our fun. So then a couple of years ago, I contacted one of the committee members. This is before I joined the organizing committee. I said, I got this extra wagon I bought from Amazon. They're shipping messed up, and I ended up with two of them. And they said I could keep both of them. But I decided, no, I think I know where this second wagon is going. So I said, I would like to present you this extra wagon that you can use for moving stuff around the powwow grounds or any other events you may have. So I and the wagon got a ride to the meeting place because I can't get there by bus. So I told him, I have this wagon. I told him how I got up. The second one, I want to give you guys this wagon so you can move stuff around. Yeah, as you see fit. I have one that I will also bring, but mine will be marked with S all over it for my last name. And they told me that they had been thinking about getting one, and then I'd just show up with one. So last year, my sister who had the foot surgery, or ankle surgery, she got one of those wagons before we went to Lake Icaria, which is where our family goes every summer for a week of fishing and staying in a couple of the cabins that we rent. So we used her wagon to move stuff to and from the vehicles when we were moving into the cabins and then when we were packing up to go home. So that has definitely worked out. And when my younger nephew got married, the ring bearer, an excessively cute little boy, was sitting in a decorated wagon, which is absolutely precious. I think the flower girl was in there too. I would have to look at the pictures from that, but yeah, that was super precious. But I have used mine to haul big boxes that I would pick up from either FedEx or UPS access point. But I have also used my Vivor folding dolly with some bungees. I used that to haul the last big box that I had to pick up from FedEx office. So I have both of those. Last year I got a whole bag full of assorted size bungees because my folding dolly only came with one, and I wanted a few extra assorted links so I could customize it, pick the right ones for the particular load I'm going to haul on that thing. But those wagons are becoming a lot more popular. I have been seeing more of them around here. People are using them in buses, and I've done that once because that's how I get around the cities by bus since I don't drive. I take it, it's collapsed when I'm taking it empty, and it only gets opened up when I put my load in it. Same with my folding dolly. When I don't have a load on it, I have it collapsed. I got the bungees wrapped around it. And it only gets opened up when I put a load on it. Or I used that dolly to take a box of, I had gotten 2 6-packs of paper towels off of Amazon Subscribe and Save before Ramadan, and I just left them in that box, and I put that box in that dolly, and I used that to haul it by bus to the mosque. In fact, I picked it up from the UPS access point because that's how it was shipped by UPS. I just put it on a dolly. I just took it straight to the mosque and called it good. And my little rolling suitcase that I use as a grocery hauler and a laundry hauler, I need to replace that because that thing is just getting beat up. But I use that to haul some of my donations. Like I have the Amazon Basics disinfecting wipes 4-packs on Subscribe and Save to come 2 times a year, just like the paper towels and the liquid hand soap. I keep some of those bottles for myself, some I take to the mosque, but I had taken a bunch before Ramadan, and I think the next 2 bottles I'll keep for myself. Because people donate the smaller bottles as well. But I remind them, keep the smaller bottles. We got the refill bottles. We'll just keep refilling those. So I did that. Couple The two in the women's bathroom got emptied. I just filled them up from one of those bigger bottles that I took last year. Yeah. So that little purple suitcase was a rescue. I took it so it wouldn't get a one-way pull to the dumpster when it was still in perfectly good condition. Of course, I have since abused the crap out of it, but the cart that I used to use for hauling groceries, it busted, so I got a hold of that suitcase and, well, this will be my grocery hauler. Just checking the chat to see if anything else will come up, and I don't see anything new. I see 6 watching. So it's good to see some new faces. I hope if that people who come for the first time keep coming back as they can. Some of my semi-regulars are away because of family stuff or stuff happens. There are only a few times where I do not do these Sunday night dinner streams. During Ramadan, of course, I'm at the mosque every day. I break my fast there and I eat with the community. I help do setup. And then my annual lake trip to Lake Icary, which is outside of the town of Corning, Iowa, where my late dad used to spend a lot of time in before the lake was created when he was a kid. He grew up in that area. And after he died, a couple years later, my mom had his name put on one of the memorial benches that surround the lake. And every year they add a few more. So people pay a fee to have a person's name or some little saying about a person. Usually someone who knew that area very well or just someone special. Plus it gives people a place to sit while they're fishing from the edge. I didn't get over there last year to shoot a short video, maybe take pictures, but I do have them from past years. Last year's trip was really weird because we had strange weather, we had high winds, we had heat, we had wildfire smoke. Fishing was not that great. I packed my full body swimsuit, but I did not go to the beach. I just didn't feel like it. And when a couple of the younger ones in our group went, they said it was not that great. The water was, it just smelled funny in there near the bottom. It felt, it just didn't feel right. Something was not right about the swimming area. And the day we came home, the wildfire smoke was so bad that it got into the hazardous for sensitive groups category. And because my mom has COPD, she has a hard enough time as it is. The day we came back, it just bothered her like crazy. She did not really feel good until after she got inside her apartment. And we hung out at the house that two of my sisters share, and my brother's staying there as well. Well, he's up here in Iowa. But we were hanging out there after we got back, and we would split off our own stuff to go our separate ways. The way we do that is someone picks me and my stuff up, takes me to that house, and my oldest sister and whoever may be coming with her ends up there. Someone picks up my mom and her stuff from her apartment, and then we just congregate there. We repack for the trip, load up the vehicles, we combine all the food, we take probably about 80% of it, and then we do a little grocery shopping in the town of Corning if we wanted to get some perishable items that we just did not have the room for in the coolers, or that nobody had at home, or pick up a couple of things while getting more firewood, because there's a place there you can buy firewood. So we cooked some of our food on the fire ring there. Plus my second oldest sister has a Blackstone griddle, a 2-zone one. That's the smallest one. And then we have a Coleman propane stove that we also use. And then there's a microwave inside the cabin, and we take a coffee maker and a stovetop percolator, and we have a sun tea jar that we would put outside on a patio area in front of the accessible cabin that we use as our main kitchen. And then the other cabin is, the fridge and shelves in that one are just backup storage. And for snacks for those in our group who are staying in that cabin. Yeah, we use an accessible cabin, one of the like 2 or 3 or 4 cabins there at Lake Icaria that have bathrooms in them because my mom uses a walker. Sometimes we may take her transport wheelchair that was originally acquired when her mother got cancer and really couldn't walk, so we got a transport wheelchair, or my parents did. And then after she died, my mom kept it. Then when my dad got cancer, he used it. And so now that she has mobility issues, my oldest sister's late husband found a walker for her, so she did not have to buy one. He had fixed it up so it's usable, so she uses that, but she has that transport wheelchair that collapses, so we can use that. She uses an oxygen concentrator at night, and my oldest sister uses a CPAP, so we need power for those. Yeah, my mom's hearing aids are tied to an app on her phone, so she likes to keep her phone charged up as much as possible. So a few years ago, for her birthday, I gave her one of these. This is identical to the one that I gave her. And then the next year, I gave her a couple of different lengths of charging cables so that she can choose the length that she needs, because all she had was really, really long ones. So they're great for plugging it into a wall wart on the wall down at that's a few feet away from the bed or a nightstand. But if she needs to charge on the go and only wants a short cable, she didn't have any, so I gave her a couple of different lengths. So now she can choose the cord that she wants for the particular situation. So she carries this in her purse whenever she goes any distance from home, say like even to somewhere here in the area, she still may carry that power bank with her. I carry a power bank daily as well. I got several that I can choose from. This one here, I think this one might be out of juice already. Yep, this one is out of juice, but I'm going to go ahead and unplug that, and I will start juicing that later. I had used that one earlier today, so it wasn't completely full. When I started the stream, my phone was full. So I finished off my grapefruit. I definitely recommend the Orifol grapefruit drink. It's up there with the British one, maybe even better than that. So just kind of a mishmash of stuff that I'm into. I have a variety of these different power banks, so plus my small power stations. I like to keep things ready in case of a power outage, or I need to juice my phone on the go, or get someone else out of trouble. I've been known to do that a time or three. But I'm going to finish the rest of my coffee. So for those that are going to be watching this on the replay, as I said at the beginning, I will put the pack year in the title, and I will put the name of the entree in the description that I ate tonight. So I will definitely get 2 more streams out of this. I got a couple of ideas on how I'm going to use some of the components, like the 2 soup mixes. And I will probably bring out this tray again because these entrees do produce a lot of food once they're rehydrated. But I do want to thank you all for hanging out with me tonight for this first dive into this huge Dutch ration. Again, thanks for Matt of This and That with Matt for making it available to me to buy it on a good deal. Absolute retail probably would have cost me over $100 to get that thing, but I got it for $80. So I'm very pleased with that. And I was very pleased with this first meal. And I'm so looking forward to getting into the rest of it. So I want to thank anyone who has come in for the first time. Again, I do this every Sunday at 7 p.m. Central. That's 8 Eastern. After midnight on the other side of the pond. For those viewers who are in Europe and even farther east. 5 Pacific time, 4 Alaska, probably 3 Hawaii, I'm not sure. But everybody knows time zones can figure it out. But I will be back next week with meal 2. I might even go ahead and have my mind made up by then which entree I'm going to pull out and what I'm going to pull out with it. I may go ahead and set that up so that I don't have to take as much time like I did tonight. Of course, I had to pull everything out of the bag and show everything that is in this behemoth. But now that you have seen it, you got an idea of what I got to play with for the next couple of weeks. Anyway, thanks for watching and catch you on the flip side.